We're back with our connector blocks and our point-to-point wiring, but this time we're going to look at actually splicing our wires and also splicing when we add components into our wires as well. Now, as I've said in previous videos in this particular course, make sure that you add your drawings to your projects, otherwise you can lose them very, very easily. So at the moment I've got JIC splicing wiring 1 there. I need to just go to the project, right click, add the active drawing. Always get into the habit of doing it because you never know when you might lose it. So click on yes, updates it to the project settings, and there's my splicing wiring. Now because I've copied a previous drawing, it's still got the 002 sheet there, so I right click, go to properties, and what I do is I change that sheet number to 3, click on OK, and that updates nice and neatly. Now we're looking at splicing. Now, if we're going to add a splice to a wire, we need a splice block. Now, these can be found on the schematic tab on the ribbon, in the Insert Components panel, on the icon menu. So when I click on icon menu now, I'm using JIC schematic symbols, but we need to go right down to miscellaneous. Okay, there's miscellaneous there. Just minimize all of these so that they're all looking the same, like so. And it's miscellaneous, this one here, not miscellaneous switches. So when I click there now, if I come down into miscellaneous, you'll see splice symbols right there. Click, and there's my splice. So what I do is I click on splice, and there it is there. Now you'll see it's horizontal at the moment. I can easily rotate that component. What I can do is I can hover on the wire itself and click. Did you notice then that it flipped round? I don't even need to worry about rotating it. Reason being it's a parametric component. Now we need to give it a tag, so I'll call it SP1. Just for the sake of it at the moment. There's a lot of information here on your Insert Edit Component dialog box. We don't need to worry about any of that at the moment. But you'll notice we can apply things like descriptions, manufacturer, catalogue. This is all database information. The button that I like the most though in AutoCAD Electrical is instead of just clicking on OK, I can do an OK repeat. So as soon as I do that, I can add another splice. So I'll pick that midpoint there as well. And I'll just OK that now. I've got 2 splices. You'll notice that one needs a number. So if I click on it, right click like so, edit component, I can change that component tag there to 2. So that's my splice 2. Click on OK and it updates. Now the lovely thing about these splices is obviously I can take wiring from the splice point. So if I zoom in just a little bit here and pan upwards, I want to be able to see that 2 connector there on the connector block and these connectors here on the splice. So I'm going to take that 2 there down to that 2 there. So I go to wire. I can splice off of this like so, specify the wire start, and as the wire comes down to the 2, it highlights the connector on the connector block. Job done. Enter to confirm. That's how quick and easy that is. Now I'm just going to zoom in a little bit there, and you'll see that that wire hasn't actually connected. So what I need to do is just draw another wire from that point there into that point there. Now the reason it's not snapping, again, can you see snap and grid? So you do need to switch snap and grid on and off occasionally. When I come to there, click there, and it updates and it draws the point for me. Now that isn't perfect because it's gone into the bottom part of the splice. No problem there though. What we can do an undo. And let's tidy this up a little bit. We'll do a couple of undos, take that back a few steps. There we go. All the way back, and what we'll do, we'll take it all the way back to before we put that wire in. So can you see every single step has to be undone because it places them sequentially. So let's do that slightly differently. Let's do the wire command again. This time I'll come off of the nearest point, and as I come down here to the 2, highlights the connector block. Now press enter. Much neater. Can you see that? It's just coming off of there. And it always puts this little 45-degree crank in when there's 2 wires coming off of the same connector. However, these hoops are a little bit close to each other, so let's use the scoot. And what I need to do is select the components to scoot along. So again, snap and grid off to make my life a little bit easier. So I click there, and I scoot it along to about there, and it updates nice and neatly for me. Press enter to confirm. Takes it still off the connector 2 there, but it's just a little bit more obvious where that wire's going now, which makes my life easier when I'm looking at the drawing. So that's how you splice. So what about adding, let's say, for example, a relay or a switch? Let's go and look on our icon menu. And what we can do is we can splice as well. So let's have a look at miscellaneous switches. Let's go and have a look in here. Lots of different switches. I'm just going to go for a basic toggle switch rather than anything complicated. So there's my toggle switch there. And I'll just hover on the midpoint here, like that, and click. And the lovely thing, did you see it flip round again? It's parametric. It looks for the wire and sets it up with the wire. So I'll call that TG1 for now. It's my toggle switch 1. I'm not going to repeat it, so I'll click on OK. And there's my switch. But what's really nice, it's trimmed the wires for me. That's what I really, really like about AutoCAD electrical tools. When you're placing components, when you're splicing wiring with the components, AutoCAD electrical trims the wiring back for you, which makes life so much easier. No trim commands, no tidying up required. So that's your splicing wiring in AutoCAD electrical.